Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. Let's begin this beautiful day together by standing as we're able and singing together. Please join us.
I love that song. Good morning. Welcome to First Unitarian here in Portland, Oregon. We're an active, multi-generational community where we strive to put love and kindness at the center of all we do. Our work is to nurture our spirits, to support one another wherever we are on our journeys, and to advocate for justice in the wider world. Whether you're brand new today or have been around for a while, whether you're here in person or joining us online, we're glad you're here. It's good to be together. And now let's take a moment to greet our neighbors. If you're online, use the chat function, please. Otherwise, time to say hello. Great conversations, wonderful. And now I would like to invite Kaya to come on up and light our chalice. We light this chalice in faith, in hope, and in love.
Words for our call to worship today come from poet Denise Levertov from Variation on a Theme by Rilke. A certain day became a presence to me. There it was, confronting me, a sky, air, light, a being. And before it started to descend from the height of noon, it leaned over and struck my shoulder as with the flat of a sword, granting me honor and a task. The day's blow rang out, metallic, or it was I, a bell awakened, and what I heard was my whole self saying and singing what it knew. I can. We gather once again in this community to sing together, to breathe together, to answer the call of love together. Come now and let us worship here together.
Well, it is May, and so we get to encounter together another theme for worship and learning and reflection. And this month, we are encountering calling. And so we have for you a story about the practice and joy of finding each of our own unique purpose. Kaya will read our story today. It is called Why Am I Here? By Naomi V. Dunson White.
Why am I here? Where should I go? I have a feeling that somebody knows. Sometimes I sit and think about me. Let my imagination go wild, go free. When I close my eyes, what do I see? Everything is possible. What will it be? I might see colors, pretty and bright. I might see the stars twinkling at night. I smile when I see myself tall as a tree, strong like a lion, or small as a bee. Riding an elephant sitting up high, or on a giraffe stretching up to the sky. Perhaps I will travel. Where will I go? Out to the ocean where blue waters flow? Or run through the forest with tropical friends, like colorful birds whose songs never end. When I grow up, what will I choose? I see amazing things I could do. I am an astronaut exploring the skies. I am a chef with tasty dishes to try. Perhaps I will be a doctor one day, or maybe a writer with something to say. Or I could be a judge or a scientist too, or create a new business is what I will do. So why am I here? Where will I go? I am here to dream, to learn and grow. I will go places near, far, and wide. I have a purpose deep down inside. Although I am probably different from you, you have a purpose deep down inside too. One day it will be so easy to see. Until then, dream and imagine with me. There may be those who stand in our way to block our successes or ignore what we say, but nothing can stop what is now meant to be. There are blessings in store for you and me. Our skin, our language, we are more than just one. Our bodies, our culture, where our families come from. We all have our dreams and a right to belong. We stand together, united and strong. You can be anything. Do you feel it inside? What do you see is possible, if only you try? Can you imagine what you will achieve? If you keep reaching high and if you believe. You are here for a reason. Yes, that is true. There is something only you were created to do. Your path to your future was made for your feet. Special places for you to go and certain people to meet. All of these things are waiting for you. Doors that will open for you to go through. So why are you here? Where will you go? Yes, I have a feeling that somebody knows. The end.
In just a moment, it will be time for all of the members of our learning community to head next door for our program. And I'd like to issue a special invitation if we have any new families. I hope that you'll head out and meet me in our sanctuary lobby, and I would be happy to show where to go. And now let's all sing together our hymn of blessing as the learning community leaves.
Let's join together now in a responsive reading. This is by Aranto Ngoho, A Presence. A presence summoned hearts from all ages, whole, holy. They answered the summons humbly to find light. They saw, tasted, and lived the sparks and proclaimed brilliance to the shadows. They did not brag of prosperity, nor tout their shining intellect, nor use some mighty gift of power. Simplicity of heart was their only gift. Now the summons sounds again, a still small voice for singular people whose honest hearts opened, filled with love for neighbors, which is love for God. Do we hear the still small voice? Can we respond with our lives? Will we join the gathering ranks to reflect the light of presence into a confused world?
This is a pretty active church, and there are a few happenings to share this morning. First of all, if you're new or even sort of new, you're invited to a welcome circle after the service over in the corner where you see the welcome circle sign. It's a time to learn a little bit more about First Unitarian, to ask questions that you might have, and just meet some other folks. It's a time for us to meet you and find out a little bit about what brought you to the church this morning. So please do join in. Today is the last day of our annual auction, which is already over our goal of $40,000. But, given the age and complexity of our many roofs, repairs and maintenance are never ending. So we're delighted to continue raising funds well beyond that goal. So head on over to Buchanan Hall after the service. There's an auction party with food and music and face painting for the kids. And don't delay, bidding closes at 5 today. This Wednesday morning at 10:30, we have our final Alliance program of this church year. Portland filmmaker Andrew Hinton will talk about his documentary film, Tashi and the Monk. There are more details and an RSVP link in the e-news and on our website for the luncheon that follows. Be sure to check that out. A note for our voting members, our ballot packets have been mailed, so if you don't receive one this week and you think that you should have, please do call the church and let us know, because we can have ballots prepared for you. So, stuff going on, be sure to check out our Front Steps e-news each week to see what's coming up. What beautiful music, thank you. It's our practice each week to share our offering with an organization aligned with our values, and this May we are sharing our plate with 350 PDX, which is a grassroots climate justice group that's right here in Portland. Their work focuses on climate policy, forest defense and resisting fossil fuels, focusing on those who are most affected by climate change. First Use Community for Earth has partnered with them for over a decade. So in a moment, our ushers will be around to receive donations by cash or check. And to give electronically, you can use the Boxcast donate button or the QR codes that will appear momentarily on the screen, or green cards in a seat back nearby. Our generosity makes this ministry possible. Thank you. We take time each week in our service to name the milestones and the joys and the concerns of our community. If you have a prayer request for our ministers and lay ministers to hold, you can go to our website and search for pastoral care, or you can use that tiny URL that's at the bottom of the screen there, tinyurl.com, firstu-cares. Then just fill out the form, and that will automatically go to our ministers and lay ministers. And if you're here in person, you can light a candle in either one of our galleries, write down your intention, and put it in one of the prayer urns that will be collected by our lay ministers. There are several things to mention today. We hold member Jean Kemp Ware this morning. Her beloved sister Patty Kemp died on April 18th in Santa Fe of sepsis. She was 79 years old and had a career in fashion. Her family says this of her: she was, above all, a strong woman, a cancer survivor who spoke with trademark candor, courageous, independent, and a risk taker in both life and work. Our thoughts are with you, Jean. Remember, Jill Duran took a bad fall last Sunday and broke her arm and elbow and injured her face quite badly. She was able to go home from the hospital on Friday and will continue her recovery there. And she appreciates being held in our thoughts and prayers and also would enjoy cards, so you can call the church office for her address. Christopher Dew had unexpected surgery last weekend, and this weekend has traveled across the country to support his mother while she has shoulder surgery. It's been a rough time, and he is thankful to have a church community to hold him in care. Artie Fogelsong has been attending First Unitarian for more than a year while her ship was in dry dock at the Port of Portland. This week, Artie learned that the ship, the USS John S. McCain, will retire to its home port in Everett, Washington. Artie has been active in our balcony cohort and also made several delicious vegan borscht soups on our Super Sundays. So that's great, Artie. She'll be in social hour today, and if you'd like to say goodbye for now and wish her farewell, see her in social hour. And lastly, hearty congratulations to the 7th through 9th grade Our Whole Lives cohort, or OWL as it's also known, as they hold their final class this afternoon. Gregory, Kylie, Kiela, Deming, Zui, Pascal, Marin, Joaquin, Asher, Iris, Eloise, Noor, Ari, and Alaria have completed 4 months of fact-based comprehensive sexuality education. It's been an intensive program and sometimes a little embarrassing, and we are proud of our youth and their families for devoting themselves to it. Special appreciation for the hard work and dedication of volunteer member teachers, Stephanie Skalick, Melissa Laurie, and Christopher Dew. Will you pray with me? Yeah. Will you pray with me? Sweet Spirit, we come into this space from many different places, both physically and emotionally. Some of us are feeling steady, some tired. Some of us are carrying things that we don't plan to say out loud. And if we're honest, some of us come knowing that we haven't been our best selves this week, that we've been impatient or distracted or worse, just not quite who we want to be. The world is not simple right now. There is real pain, real fear, real uncertainty. And we don't set that aside when we come in here. We come here for help with it all, for a grounding that helps us respond, focus, keep going without becoming overwhelmed. And we also don't come empty-handed. We bring what we care about, the people who matter to us, the practices that center us, the small reminders of goodness that we've seen and received, that part of ourselves that still wants to show up. This month we reflect on calling, and though it sometimes does, it doesn't always have to mean one big purpose, but something closer, a way to be useful right now where we are. And when the way isn't clear, help us to listen with our hearts, to stay open, and to begin again in love. Amen. Let's be together now for a few moments of quiet reflection. Now please rise in body and in spirit, and let's sing our doxology, Spirit of Life. Both of our readings this morning are by Unitarian Universalist minister Nancy Schaefer. Calling. When you heard that voice and knew finally it called for you and knew what it was saying, where were you? Were you in the shower, wet and soapy, or chopping cabbage late for dinner? Were you planting radish seeds or seeking that one lost sock? Maybe wiping handprints off a window, or coaxing words into a sentence, or coming upon a hyacinth, or one last no. Where were you when you heard that ancient voice? And did yes get born right then, and did you weep? Had it called you since before you even were? And when you knew that, did your joy escape all holding? Where were you when you heard that calling voice, and how in that moment did you mark it? How ever after are you changed? Tell us, please, all you can about that voice. Teach us how to listen, how to hear. Teach us all you can of saying yes. Calling, part 2. I begin to understand calling more fully. It has little to do with ministry itself, everything to do with the sacred. It is not about serving a particular denomination or even congregation, but being in the world who I was created to be, like standing on the stage of the universe and saying yes to God alone and not a particular mountain range or river. After that, what possibly can go wrong?
As has been mentioned several times already, the spiritual theme in our congregation this month is calling. Calling. What does that word conjure up for you? Something biblical, perhaps? The image of Moses by the burning bush, or of Jesus taking up his ministry and shaking up the world? Or maybe it's an image of Rosa Parks refusing to give up her seat on that bus. For some, it may seem like the kind of thing that mostly ministers talk about, but may ask, just how does it apply to me? Ministers do indeed talk about callings. When a group of ministers get together, often our call stories, as we sometimes refer to them, come up. And if that call language doesn't speak to you, what about purpose? Can you identify what you might call your purpose in life? As in, what have I been placed here to do? What is my purpose in life? What is my purpose in life in this particular moment in time? In our reading today, the poet Nancy Schaefer asks, when you heard that voice and knew finally it called for you, and what was it saying? Where were you? Did those questions prompt a response? A memory maybe, or maybe a question along the lines of, what on earth is he talking about? When it comes to the question of call, what is it that comes to mind? For some here, I expect the answer may come quickly. For others, it may come with more questions, perhaps including, isn't it mostly just ministers who experience that? My own experience of call to the ministry happened one sunny day years ago when I was walking along East Superior Street in Duluth, Minnesota. I don't remember much else about that day before, just how in a moment on that walk, it was clear to me that I was supposed to be a minister. I was a little startled at first. I was pretty settled in an editing job at a daily newspaper there. I had not too long before found Unitarian Universalism as a church home. But the idea of call to ministry felt like it came out of the blue, as often call stories seem to, and I didn't know what quite I should do with that. I thought about it for several days. It may have been several weeks, I'm not sure. But that sense didn't go away. I finally got up the courage to make an appointment to talk with my minister. I didn't know what she would say, but feared she might say, "What? Are you kidding?" She listened to my story, and her first response was to say, "I wondered how long it would be before you figured this out. I had a sense that you were heading in that direction." She then advised that if I indeed was going to discern a call, that I should start getting more involved and learning more about life in the church. And why didn't that begin by leading the annual fund drive that year? That was just going to be starting in a few months. Yes, sometimes the call is a challenge. No time to waste. Long story short, you never know where a sense of call may take you. Now, at first, it did seem as if there was a sense of call that came from someplace outside of me. It was a little startling. But as I look back on years later, I realized that, in fact, it was something that had been percolating for a long, long time. In fact, as I've reflected more about it, it was something that may have even been an expectation from my family of origin about what it was that I would do with my life. With time, I've come to see that call that it was something that was there for a long time. It just took me a while for it to come to the surface. Some of us, I expect, have had those moments of clarity when it comes to our call or our purpose. Or maybe the word would be vocation. What are we supposed to be doing with our lives? Maybe it's responding to what is before us, like caring for a loved one or taking some particular role that speaks to us, that calls us. But I don't think that mostly it comes from the form of some grand awakening, but in more subtle ways more often. In those moments, we do have that sense of, yes, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is the direction I'm headed in. And mostly, they are not one-time events, but something that happens day by day, maybe over a much longer time. And it may be something that we resist because it can feel inherently risky, something that takes us out of our comfort zones. Words again from the poet. Were you in the shower, wet and soapy, or chopping cabbage late for dinner? Were you planting radish seeds or seeking one lost sock? Maybe wiping handprints off a window or coaxing words into a sentence, or coming upon a hyacinth or one last no. Where were you when you heard that ancient voice, and did yes get born right then, and did you weep? Had it called you since before even you were? When you knew that, did your joy escape all holding? Where were you when you heard that calling voice? And how, in that moment, did you mark it? How, ever after, are you changed? Calling, I've come to see, is more often than not something that is ongoing, a kind of check-in about where we are and where we think we're going. But it's also important to make space to discern which messages are important and which ones may not be important at all. There are all kinds of messages we get about what we should be or who we should be, but those more often than not may actually lead us off course. The thing about calling is, as I've come to understand it, is that they don't leave, but they keep showing up for us one way or another. I am here to live out loud is the way the writer Émile Zola said. I am here to live out loud. Life, I think, is about finding our voices at whatever age or stage we may find ourselves. Sometimes it's about learning which voices are truly our own and which ones are not. Sometimes it can take a long time to figure it out. Sometimes it can take finding the right protection. It takes our willingness to pay attention, the signs that are coming our way. And sometimes they may not make very much sense to know how our stories are different from or how they grow out of the stories of others, including our families. It may take time to get enough distance from all of the messages we receive about how we should be, or how we should be, or who we should be. And it may be that sometimes we need to ask the right questions in order to figure it out, where and when it is we're supposed to be. Writer and teacher Parker Palmer tells of a time when he had the opportunity to become the president of a prestigious school. He had visited the campus, talked with students and faculty, trustees, and had been told that if he wanted it, the job was most likely his. At the time, he was having a hard time figuring out what his vocation was. He wasn't sure what he wanted to do, but this position was quite prestigious, and he was pretty sure the job was the right one for him. Parker Palmer is a Quaker, and he decided to call together what he calls a clearness committee, a group of people who would sit down with him and help him figure it out. The group does not give advice, but spends 3 hours asking open, honest questions that would help him discover his inner truth. Palmer writes that he really looked at this motivation if he really looked at his motivation for this meeting, he really wanted the group to impress the group with the position that he had been offered, that he had already actually decided to accept it. Now, at first, the questions from the Clearness Committee were easy. What was his vision for the institution? What was its mission in the larger society? How would he handle decision making? How would he deal with conflict? Halfway into the process, someone asked a question that sounded easy. What would you like most about being a president? Palmer writes, the simplicity of that question took me out of my head and lowered me into my heart. I remember pondering for a time, at least for a full minute, before I could respond. Then, very softly and tentatively, I started to speak. Well, I would not like having to give up my writing and my teaching. I would not like the politics of the presidency, never knowing who your real friends are. I would not like having to glad hand people I do not respect simply because they have money. I would not like ... The person gently reminds him that she asked him what he would like most. He continues his litany of what he would not like, and the questioner again calls him back to the question. Finally, after a long pause, he answers, well, I guess what I'd like is getting my picture in the paper with the words president underneath it. The group sat silently and respectfully. Finally, one of them asks, Parker, can you think of an easier way to get your picture in the paper? It's important, I think, in our lives to always be aware of where it is we find meaning. It's important to know that we are not alone, but connected to mystery and wonder into everything around us, to have a space to listen to the Spirit and how it may be moving in our lives. Through all of life, we're asked to pay attention to the life around us, to be present and to be mindful of what is most important. The call may not be something glamorous. It may be that it asks us to do something that takes us way out of our comfort zones. Sometimes we're called to let go of our pretenses, our ego. We have to get past all the distractions to a place where we can hear some inner voice. If we can do that, if we can make room for the Spirit to be present, then it may be that's when we can find our calling. Calling can come from a sense of mystery. It isn't something that can be forced. It's not something we can talk ourselves into. It's about making space to hear it, to understand it. Does it come from somewhere outside of us, or does it come from someplace deep, deep within? It may be a call to some different way of being, to being in the world in a certain way, something maybe we haven't been before. Palmer says, before you tell your life what you intend to do with it, listen for what it intends to do with you. Before you tell your life what truths and values you've decided to live up to, let your life tell you what truths you embody, what values you represent. In his poem, Ask Me, Oregon poet William Stafford says, ask me whether what I have done is my life. Life, is about making space to hear what might be the call for each of us. It doesn't usually come in the form of that burning bush, but who knows? Maybe it does. Maybe sometimes that's the only way it can get our attention. But more often, it's something more subtle, and our first job may be to get out of the way and simply to listen, to simply pay attention. Each of us, I think, is precious and unique and whole, just as we are. Each of us has the capacity to do our part to make the world more whole, more loving, more compassionate. That doesn't mean that we need to be at the top of our profession or the best at any given thing. It means we have to just be first of all, who we are and listen to what the world might be asking of us at any given time, to pay attention to what our particular calling or callings might be. And I want to note for a moment that I'm talking about individuals, but I think that institutions too have callings. I'm particularly thinking now of the church as it goes through a time of change and transition, that the church too is an ongoing calling, has an ongoing calling to be in the world and to be in a certain way, just like each of us. The theologian Martin Buber tells the story of the great Hasidic rabbi Zuzah. On his deathbed, he began to cry uncontrollably, and his students and disciples tried hard to comfort him. They asked him, "Rabbi, why do you weep? You are almost as wise as Moses. You are almost as hospitable as Abraham, and surely heaven will judge you favorably." Zuzah answered them, "It is true. When I get to heaven, I won't worry so much if God asks me, 'Zuzah, why were you not more like Abraham?' or 'Zuzah, why were you not more like Moses?' I know I would be able to answer those questions. After all, I was not given the righteousness of Abraham or the faith of Moses, but I tried to be both hospitable and thoughtful. But what will I say when God asks me, 'Zuzah, why were you not Zuzah?'" Words again of Nancy Schaefer. Tell us, please, all you can about that voice. Teach us how to listen, how to hear. Teach us all you can of saying yes. Friends, may each of us live out our callings, our purpose in life, whatever they may be. May we find ourselves among friends who help us get there. As we live out those callings, may we find ourselves to be blessings and for the world, and at the same time, may we find ourselves being blessed. In all of our days, may we find our way to yes. Blessed be, and amen. Let's sing now our closing hymn, "Wake Now, My Senses." to go to the auction the last day. It's in Buchanan next door, and for a time of fellowship together. Friends, take courage. The road is sometimes long, sometimes difficult. May the answer call us, and may we pay attention to what it might be asking of us. May our answers and our lives make love real all around us. For this is the day that you and I have been given, so let us rejoice in it and be glad. Go in peace. Practice love. Amen.